So in this video, oh, by the way, sorry, hi and welcome. In this video, I'm going to run through my entire process of getting photos from the camera to my clients. I'm talking about wedding clients here. I've had actually 2 or 3 people ask me, what's my workflow, what do I do, where do I put the files, how do I get them into Lightroom, what do I do in Lightroom, and so on. So I'll keep this as short as I reasonably can and explain everything along the way. So you can't see this, but I've taken my card out my camera and I'm about to pop it into a USB port. If only I had one on my computer that was free. Sorry, just got to plug that one in. So I've just plugged in that card into my computer, and in a moment we should get that pop up. Right, so this is my card, so I go to, it's the Nikon Z5, so we go to DCM obviously, and I've just got 4 photos in there. So the way I do this is I copy these onto a portable drive. I find this the safest way to do it. I'll copy them here, and you can see here's my a few of my weddings from recently. I'm going to put these into 2022 general, so I'm just going to copy those across into that file. So they're now on a hard drive. Lightroom, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just me or my computer, but Lightroom will not read straight off the memory card. They have to be on the computer for Lightroom to actually import them. So, and you want to save the things somewhere on the computer anyway. So these are now in a portable drive. If it was a wedding, I would now go in, once that's copied across, into a proper folder on the plug-in drive. I would then copy those, and I've got I would then got another plug-in drive, a new 2 terabyte drive, where I would then put them there as well. So I've now got their wedding photos in 2 completely separate places, not on my PC, but 2 plug-in hard drives, just to be sure. So those photos are now in 2022 general, so we can now go into Lightroom and copy those, import those into Lightroom. So let's open up Lightroom, and we're going to go to library, and these of course are raw files. Sorry, they're not JPEGs. I always use raw files, and we'll go across to import. We've then got to select a source, and let me just take out my card reader because that's not necessary. As I say, it won't read it directly off the card anyway. It's got to come off the computer. Mine has anyway. So I said I put them into 2022 general. Now of course, if you've got a wedding, I would create a new folder on that portable drive and put them all into that drive. These are in 2022 general, which is a real mess already, and we're only 4 months in. Some of these have been imported, some of them haven't. So I'm going to run through, and hopefully the ones that I haven't imported will be down here. And I'm going to uncheck these, and I know that these last 4 are the ones I took these photos 3 or 4 minutes ago, so they're ready to be imported. Right, add to collection and build smart previews. Build smart previews means that Lightroom will build what it says, a smart preview. It's a fairly efficient way of doing the previews. It makes editing a lot faster because it works with a smart preview rather than the actual file, and it just makes the whole thing work faster. So I always tick that. Add to a collection. Now if this was a wedding, I would now create a new collection, and I would save this as so and so's wedding, and that will create a collection. And here you can see my collection of weddings from fairly recently. As I've already got a folder 2022 general, I shall put them into there, so just make sure that's highlighted and then import. So that's now importing those 4 files from my portable drive into Lightroom. And there we have the files. So I would now simply go to develop, and I can run through each photo. Actually, what I would do is I would go back to the library module and select the photos I actually want to edit. And I'm having to do this as a voiceover. I don't know what happened, but I lost the sound. So I would go through and I would select each picture, and I would then press 6 on the keyboard. And what that would do is highlight that photo as a red label. Because obviously at a wedding I've got about 1,000 photos. I don't want to edit all 1,000. I just want the 200 that I want to edit. So as you can see, if you press 6 with a highlighted photo, it changes the colour of the surrounding to red. And later on in the develop module, we can then select just the red photos. And if you change your mind and you don't want one of the red ones to be selected, simply go back and press 6 again, and it will deselect it as a red one. So back in the develop module, we along the film strip here would have 1,000 photos, some of which are red. We then go to the filter bar there and we click on the red box there, and we're then left just with the red labelled photos. So we're now down to a wedding, we're down to a couple of hundred photos rather than 1,000 or so, and we can then go to each photo and individually edit that photo. Now you can do this by obviously literally individually editing each photos. If you want to get the crop right, the colour and the exposure. I use a preset over here, and I've got lots, but I use basic for almost all of my photos, which changes the highlights and the shadows and so on and so forth. It creates something which I think makes a nice looking photo. So I simply apply that basic preset, and I would then almost all the way there. I might then need to just change the exposure or lift the shadows a bit more on each individual photo, but what it means, I can get through photos in probably 20-30 seconds each, and therefore I can do 200 photos in, I don't know, what, a couple of hours to edit 200 photos for a wedding. Now once we have 200 the photos edited to our liking, sorry, I'm just on the video getting rid of that line which I would take off on a wedding photo. And once we have the photos as we want them, we simply then press Control A, select all, and we can then export all of those 200, or in this case 2 photos. So file and export. Now we've got lots of choices here. I obviously export it to the hard drive, and you can choose the folder that it's going to go in, and if you just go to choose, you can actually select the folder you want it to go in. Obviously for a wedding I would create a new folder for each wedding on my hard drive. There's a few I did earlier. We're going to put it into art. And within art, I think I'm going to put it into, as I say, I'm doing this as a voiceover. I think I'm going to put it into still life in a moment. Yep, still life. Select the folder, and that will put the exported files as into that folder. You can name a subfolder, which Lightroom will automatically create. If you're doing like a second edit of some wedding photos, you can put it in the same folder, but click create a subfolder and Lightroom will create a subfolder within that, and you can call it second edit. File naming, there's various options for file naming. I use custom name and then sequence, so it's like Maria's wedding 1, and then Lightroom will then add put 2, 3, 4, so you get some understandable file names. Obviously I export as JPEG and use sRGB as the color space. You can then choose the image quality. I either export as is, so I untick that box, or I would export smaller images if they're going to be used on a website or Instagram. If they're not going to be printed, then I would reduce the size to 1200 pixels and the resolution to 150 ppi. But obviously for weddings I leave that as 300, and I don't click the resize to fit. You can add a watermark. Easiest way I've done that is create a watermark, a PNG file in a graphics program. You can then have that applied as a watermark on all the images as they're exporting. I don't do any post-processing or sharpening or anything like that. Click export, and that will now export, as you can see at the top left here, export 2 files. And if we take a look at File Explorer, we should hopefully find very shortly that those 2 files are on the computer as JPEG files. So let's have a look in Art, and we want Still Life, I think it was, wasn't it? Yep, there they are. Not quite exported yet. Okay, so there they are. What we can now do is, of course, upload these to the internet, to a gallery somewhere for our clients. And I use Smugmug. I used to use the gallery or the album, whatever it was, that came with my website. I have a Wix website, but I found so many problems with Wix, and almost every time I went to upload, say 200 photos, it would crash. So on Wix, on Smugmug, I think it's about £6-7 a month, so about $10. You can create a new gallery. We can upload photos to that gallery. Just select the photos to go in the gallery, click open, and there we go. Yes, I was saying that Wix continually crashed, and it would mean that I'd have to start the upload again, and I can remember it literally took 3 or 4 days sometimes to upload a gallery. Smugmug, I've never ever had a problem with uploading. There's an unlimited amount of galleries you can have. The photos are brilliant. They look really, really good on their website. You can set various parameters, whether your clients can download them, whether they have to buy them if they want to download them or print them, whatever. It's great. So I still have a Wix website, but I then email the Smugmug gallery link to my clients afterwards, and they have access to their wedding photos. And I've uploaded these as full-size images, which maybe wasn't the best idea, but they're nearly there now. Okay, so we can now have a look at the gallery, and we can view it on the site, and this is the actual site that the clients would see. So you'd simply copy the URL up there and send that URL to the client. You can add a password if you want to, but it's only people with that URL that can view the gallery, and they can see their photos. As I say, for whatever it is, £6 or £7 a month, it's in the 8-9 years I've been doing wedding photography, it's by far the best way of delivering photos to clients, in my view. Well, I hope it's been useful. If you've got any questions, please come back to me, but thanks for watching. Cheers for now.